Are you a computer tinkerer like myself? Are you interested in a more secure and private computer experience? Are you looking to get into hosting servers for Minecraft or even just learning about computers in general? Then look no further into hopping around and trying some new Linux distributions. Linux is free, stable, and can be lightweight so they can run on pretty much any machine. Now I know you're thinking, trying a new Linux distribution will probably require me to wipe my PC and all of the data on it. But if you're a Windows user, which I assume you are, you can install a program called hyperv right through Windows. Now, hyperv is a hypervisor. By Google's definition, a hypervisor is a program used to run and manage one or more virtual machines on a computer. In other words, it's like a matrix kind of, where you have a computer inside your computer living in entirely different computer life, separate from its parent computer. Now, before we begin installing Hyper-V on our computer, we're going to need to set up our virtualization on our machine. So most machines that we have or buy, they come with it disabled. So what you're going to need to do is turn your computer off, and as you're booting it up, bring it to the BIOS menu and find yourself at the virtualization section here. So that's mainly going to be in the advanced section of your BIOS section. It's all different depending on your motherboard provider. But once you're there, you're going to go ahead and hit enable. You're going to save and then go ahead and continue. Boot up the machine. And then once that's booted up and turned on, you are going to then open up your control panel. You're then going to go to Programs and Features. We're then going to hit Turn on Windows Features, and then click the checkbox here next to Hyper-V, and then hit OK. It's going to be searching for the required files, apply the changes, and it's going to ask us to restart. So what we're going to do is go ahead and restart, and then we'll be right back. Alright, now that we're back on and ready to move on with getting Hyper-V set up, we want to make a decision here, which honestly you can go through and download all of the ISOs here, but this is where we make the decision to choose an OS to give out a try. So like for here I have Linux Mint. This is one that I recommend for Windows users. As you can see, it kind of just has a very Windowsy feel to it. Then we have Debian, which is a very popular OS. It's just very stable, very lightweight, easy to use. Used for a lot of server instances and such. Same thing with Ubuntu. Ubuntu's the same, but also people will sometimes use it for a desktop environment. It's pretty interesting. It has like the sidebar here, but you can adjust it to however you'd like. It's all pretty customizable, as pretty much each and all of the Linux distributions are. They're pretty do as you choose. Arch Linux, this is a pretty hard distribution to get your hands around, but once you figure it out, it's going to make all other distributions feel like kind of like a walk in the park. We have Pop! OS. Pop! OS is getting pretty popular for gaming and such like that, and even like STEM projects. It just allows for different tools and such to be used. And then we have another one here, Raspbian. This is just a different version of Debian here. It's just a branch of it, so that's like a very big popular thing in the Linux community, is just to take someone else's distribution and kind of put a spin on it for your own. So Raspbian is the Raspberry Pi OS. It's used on obviously all the Raspberry Pi devices, but you can even throw it on an old laptop or an old desktop if it starts to get pretty slow, or if it wants to try to download Windows 11 and it ends up crapping out. So you can end up just throwing a different OS on there if you so choose, and Raspberry Pi's OS can be a good one if you have an old computer that just needs something lightweight to run on it. But now that we have one, I have a couple of different ones that I can choose from. I have a folder, so I'm going to just go ahead and get started. So here we go. I'm going to just, I have it right here, but if you just type in Hyper-V Manager, it should be right here. I already have a virtual machine installed. It didn't seem to delete when I uninstalled this program earlier, so I'm just going to delete, remove, start fresh. Here we go. So I'm going to just close this full screen here. So what you can do is take a right click. Sorry, I'm wrong. go up to the top left. No, sorry, wrong again. All right, so let's begin with Hyper-V now that we're in the full screen. What you want to do is go here on the left side where it says Hyper-V Manager, then you go to your desktop. This is your host environment or your PC. This is the name of your computer. You're going to want to right-click that, click this New, and then click Virtual Machine. So this is going to be that computer inside your computer. So we have our desktop, which is the main parent computer, and this virtual machine is the computer inside the computer. So, okay, we're going to just click Next here. This doesn't really need to be named. Here we can name this anything. This is just the identifiable name, so when we look at our virtual machine from this page right here, you'll be able to see the clear name here. So you could even say like Ubuntu first download, first try. Hit Next. Then we can just stick with generation 1 here, since most of our machines are going to be on this generation anyway. And then here, I usually, depending on your amount of memory that you have, I usually like to give everything about 4 gigs of memory, so 4096. I usually like to uncheck this dynamic memory just so we have a consistent 4 gigs and it doesn't like to mess with it depending on what our Windows processes are using. Right, and once we have this 4096, we're pretty much ready to go and hit Next again. Connection. You should have a default internet connection, but it seems that my uninstall and reinstall didn't work, so I'm going to just go ahead and click this EX switch here. This is one that I just made myself. Then we can just click Next again. Then here I have create a virtual disk. Here we have the name again. You can have it say whatever you want, but this is just the extension. Then here we have the file size. It says the maximum is 64 terabytes. We definitely do not have that amount of terabytes, but we're just going to keep it at 127 since this is just going to be a quick fresh install, and I'm probably going to delete this virtual machine after. I'm going to just hit Next, and then install an operating system later. No, we do not want to do this. We want to click this checkbox here, install an operating system from a CD-ROM. We're going to click our ISO file, hit Downloads, which is not where we want to go. We're going to go to my external drive, my ISOs, and then I'm going to do Debian here, and then I'm just going to hit Next and Finish. And easy as that. Even though I named it Ubuntu, I ended up clicking Debian just because I'm indecisive. We're going to right click on it and then click Connect and then hit Start. Once we start, it's going to give us a little flashing here. You can even full screen if we want. But now we are starting to get logged in and booted into our Debian interface. Alright, we're back. This finished loading. So what we're going to do is go ahead and hit this graphical install on our keyboard. We're just going to hit Enter. It might take a moment. We have to click on the screen here. And like that, we're ready to roll. I'm going to make sure I hit English here. Continue. United States. Continue. American English. Continue. And now I just kind of wait through, go through this process. It's taking our internet connection, making sure we're all processed and ready to go. Hitting up that DHCP. We can just name this. I'm going to name this Ubuntu -first because I'm funny and I am going to start naming everything backwards because it's just how I am. We're going to just continue because we do not have a domain name. Or password. I'm going to name it cheese123. Cheese123. Full login for the user. Ian. Choose a new password. Prov23. Prov123. Because I like provolone cheese. Gonna go to Eastern. We're going to use the entire disk here just because it's only that 120 something gigs. For some reason it wants to show 130, but it's okay. For new users, we're going to just follow the recommendation and just put everything all in one partition. We're going to go through and continue. We're going to just continue. Sorry about about that. We're going to hit yes, continue, and it's red. And then we're just going to install the system and hop right in. It's interesting because most other distributions, instead of just installing right away and giving you this graphical install, they'll give you the option to try, where you get like pretty much just like the base install of like with no features or no internet browser. It's just the base OS with the taskbar and just feeling it out. We're going to just continue. We don't have any other media. We're going to just grab the Debian package manager. We don't need any other package managers. We're getting the apt package manager, which is very common in the Debian world. You'll see that a lot if you stick to Debian and you like Debian. Just keep going through. I usually like to do SSH just in case I'm in my Windows machine and I want to just quick remote in without having to go through hyperv. You can just quick SSH into the server or the computer and then continue. That may not be the case for everyone, but I like using the terminal. Sometimes it's just a bit easier for me to restart a couple of things if need be. Okay, that finished. We're going to go ahead and continue here. Sorry. Continue. Yes. Yes. Installation is complete, so it's time to boot your machine. And we're just about finished here. If you see this, then you know everything's working well. It's going to just automatically start booting into Debian. And there you have it. Here is my user profile. If I type in prov123, hit enter. Easy as that. I'm in. Once you're in Debian, you can feel free to just hit the Windows key to start seeing what applications you have. You can start searching, or you can just kind of click this button here and really just go around and poke and see what you got. You can hit your show applications here, start scrolling through and see what's around. But really, you have the freedom to do whatever you want now that you're in here. You can either just poke around and try some new applications, mess with the terminal, see what else is available, or you could just completely delete this virtual machine and try a new one. But yeah, if you like this content and you want to see more about some future open source content and some Linux stuff, or just technology in general, what you think is cool in the now, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you hopefully very soon. Take care.